I don't know what the music's going to sound like, but if the album cover is anything to go by, it's going to sound trippy. Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a nice evening or maybe a morning, depending on when you're watching this. But for myself, it is absolutely the evening. So thank you so much for joining me here and for just stopping on and taking part and watching and hopefully listening alongside with me. Today we're going to listen to this track entitled Utopia, Man's Dream Part 1 and 2. This is off of the album Waterfalls by Klemmer. We're listening to this because it was recommended and sponsored by Dave. Dave, thank you so much for the support and definitely for the recommendation as well. Really, really appreciate that. Thank you. Now, looking at this, I see that this is a live album. It says by saxophonist and composer Klemmer. And I was looking into the YouTube comments to see if anyone else had suggested him or mentioned the track or anything like that. And while I was going to say we've never listened to him before, we in a sense have, because apparently he's played saxophone with Steely Dan. I see when I'm looking through the comments here, I see that he's, I suppose, played on the Caves of Altamira there. So in a way, we have heard at least a little bit in part from him, but now we're going to listen to a little bit more. So parts 1 and 2 coming on in. Let's go ahead and dive on in. Oh, and the album cover, I mean, you'll see it shortly here, but it just makes me think this is going to be a cool, trippy piece of jazz. So let's go ahead and dive on into it. I hope that you guys are doing well. Here we go. That's trippy. Barely audible vocals behind that sax line. Vocals continue behind the sax. I love that. I don't know what that technique was, but the quick. I love all the jazz that we've been getting on this channel, by the way, recently. I love that you guys have been requesting a lot of jazz. Always hitting that stop with the rest of the rhythm. Squeaking out. This is good drumming. Oh, that's direct. Keys are descending. Listen to that fill. It's like the drums are stumbling with the sax here. Someone jumped out the corner. Oh yeah, there you go. Cool it down with those keys. The drumming is so precise here. Jazzy, but kind of heavy-handed as well. Not so light. This is hopping on the groove. Into a drum solo. Listen to the acoustics on that thing. It's popping off. And when the bass comes back in, it's thumpy. It's about to hit part 2. Every once in a while that banshee comes out. Like the echo, the roominess on the drums here. That's what I said, the acoustics are really good. For that return. And she's back. Love how they brought that back. Let's see if I catch them all. Here we go. Smooth it out like butter. It's like walk it out. It's a sweet note at the end. That is some cool jazz for like a hazy weekend evening. Like right now it's Friday night, and this is the perfect piece for me to listen to right now because as you guys know, like jazz is just something that's in my blood and has been like part of my growing up, and I love the sound, I love the music, and this is no difference, right? Like I love the saxophone and the expression with which it's being played. When I was a kid and I was first kind of hearing jazz in my dad's car and stuff, I remember hearing the saxophone and just being absolutely in love with it, as I'm sure many people, obviously really enjoy this sound. And there was a brief point in my life where I thought I was going to learn saxophone. That never happened, but the admiration for the instrument always remained. And here from Mr. Klemmer, I love the way he expresses himself in the music and how it has both aggressive sounds, the way he gets into it, but also, of course, very relaxed and subtle sounds as well. When he's doing the like that little alarming, distressing sound, I know what he's doing, with his fingering and stuff, but I'm curious, like, does that particular sound or technique have a name? Because we hear it sometimes, and the way he uses it here, in many moments, it's almost like an incredibly strong vibrato that he's getting out of it, but just it feels sharper. Not like a soft vibrato. There's something sharp about it. And I'm just curious if that has a particular name in its technique. This track, both really parts 1 and 2, it's really built upon a very simple foundation of the groove from the drums and the bass. The bass really is there primarily kind of keeping time, very, very simple rock and groove, but the drums are allowed a little bit more freedom of expression. Drums are going to be performed by Eddie Marshall with Victor Feldman on percussion as well. And the drums have a lot more room to expand upon, while the bass really just sits there in the back, in the shadows, just coolly, I imagine, just smoking a cigar and just bum, 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 just coolly laying down the track, and everyone else builds their walls and their houses on top of it. The electric piano from Mike Knock Really like those cool sounds that just kind of linger in the background, like little wafts of smoke in the blue. And I like how, yes, it's an atmospheric foundation just as much as the bass and everything. But once again, the keys get a little bit more room for expression. They're a little lower in the mix, and yet their subtlety is still there. And I like how a lot of this, a lot of the instruments to an extent are kind of subtle. In the background. I would say the bass and the piano or the keys very much in the back. And then drums, I would say, are kind of middle with, of course, saxophone up front. And then you have that really cool opening, which I thought was really nice how they all kind of began. But Diana Lee on vocals here, singing alongside Klemmer's saxophone. And I like how it was so faint, so faint that you could barely hear her audibly singing just beneath the saxophone line, especially in the beginning, to the point where I was questioning if there were words, because I really quickly went through and I was like, oh, there's vocals here. No lyrics besides the title of the track, but I did do a quick look just as the song began once I realized that there was singing involved. But that was really nice, and I like the subtlety of her voice beneath it, really feeling just like a light foam beneath the waves of the sax here. Just really, really nice. But once again, Klemmer's the star, Klemmer's the lead. This is his album, and he definitely makes it very apparent that he is at the forefront and the runner in this particular race of the music. And those drums from Marshall were really, really nice. I like the solo that we got. It was so aggressive and so heavy-handed, because even throughout his playing in this track, while he was still, jazzily drumming, you could feel that there was a little bit of a heavy-handedness in how he was playing. It wasn't like, playing with brushes or anything like that. No, there was a hand to it. And so I like how he did have a brief moment of getting to put it down, so to speak. But this was a really cool piece of music. I really enjoyed listening to this. And, the audience obviously loved it as well. That album cover is sensational. It's always blurry when I blow it up here, but I just think that this is such a cool album cover. I love that. And just like, when you would go to the store and walk through the record shop and flip through the records, the album cover is sometimes going to be that first thing that gets your attention. And this would make me think it would be like some sort of prog psychedelic kind of music or something, but I'm happy with the jazz that we've gotten. Which, speaking of which, I'm really, really happy to have gotten so many jazz requests on the channel, because I love it, and this is a cool way to explore it. And really, the Buy Me a Coffees are really a great way to explore all these different sounds, genres, artists, bands that we may not have stumbled upon before. So really thank you guys for that. Dave, thank you so much for the recommendation. I really appreciate the support as well. Thank you for the Buy Me a Coffee request. Hope that you guys enjoy the music. As always, thank you for being here. Come back tomorrow, and I will see you all then, guys. Bye.